Okay, you guys just have to go and draw this one. So let's start with getting the equation of the line. Okay, I haven't done anything yet. I haven't gotten the inverse, nothing. I've just written it down as y instead of g of x. Okay, so it is nog steeds g van x. And now because I want the inverse function, what do? I say x is equal to a third to the power of y. Okay, and therefore y is equal to log a third x. Okay, yes. No, you don't have to write that middle step. Dus hoekom ek gister mos julle gesê het, na rukkie begin jy in elk geval agterkom what's happening. This will, however, count 2 marks, and they give 1 mark for swapping the x and the y around. So if you're going to go straight to your answer and you write your answer incorrect, you're going to get 0. But if you include this step, then you can get that mark and then maybe lose your mark on your answer. So pick your battles. Okay, I just want to show you guys this one we can write as negative log 3x. And you guys need to know that in terms of interpretation, but if you wrote that as an answer, that's perfectly fine. Okay, so julle moet net weet dat daai twee goed dieselfde is. Sien julle 'n derde? Hallo Ben. 'n derde is dieselfde as 3 tot die mag min 1. And remember, logs and exponents go hand in hand. That's where that negative comes from. Basically, moving it to the top, and then the negative you take out. Okay, but we don't have to go into the details of why it is like that. But if they give you this, then it looks exactly the same as that. But if I asked you for the equation of the log function and you wrote down this, 4 punte. Okay, good. And we're going to do some reflections today. Then you will see they're the same thing. Okay, maar onthou hulle soek hom so, of julle moet lees hoe hulle hom soek, maar sê nou maar ek het hom vir julle gevra in hierdie vorm. Then you must just write it like that. Or is equal to negative log 3x. Okay. Kom ons gaan teken hom. So ons teken hierdie lyn in. Like that. Like that. Okay, voordat ek aangaan, ons gaan nou begin deur vrae stelle werk. If they ask you to draw, let's say they gave you g of x, né? Dan vra hulle vir jou waardeversameling, bla bla bla, bla bla bla. And now they ask you to draw the graph of the inverse of g. Hulle noem aan. Please don't draw both. As jy wil, kan jy die eerste ene teken, net om vir jouself te help met die refleksie. But please read what they are asking. So then if you've drawn the inverse function, then just erase the original one. Okay. Want partykeer is hulle onnodig oor sulke goeters. Let's just indicate 3 points on that. Stem julle saam dat sy x afsnit gaan wees 1? Yes. And then this one will become 3 and negative 1. And this one will become a third and 1. En dan hierdie storie. Like that. And for the range, y is the element of all real numbers. You have a question? No. Goed. Another example. Nou gaan ons van ons ander refleksies ook insit. So onthou, hulle kan nog steeds vir jou vra vir 'n refleksie in die x-as of in die y-as byvoorbeeld. But these aren't inverse functions. An inverse function means it's been reflected in the line y is equal to x. That is the definition of an inverse function. So as ons hom nou gaan begin reflekteer in die x en in die y as, you're not getting inverse functions there. Okay. So oopsie. They give us f of x is equal to 3 to the power of x. Okay. You should start knowing by now that that means dis 'n ascending function cuts there. En kom ons sit net een ander punt ook op hom. Sommer net 1 en 3. And while we are here, I'm going to revise some of the rules for reflections. Want ek dink julle het dit lanklaas gedoen. Okay, so they give us that and then they ask us to draw g of x if g of x is a reflection of f of x in the y-axis. Okay, so let's do this. You guys remember that? As jy iets reflekteer in die y-as, dan bly die y-waarde dieselfde, maar die x-waarde se teken verander. Sort of? So this is not an inverse. Dis net 'n refleksie. In other words, if I draw g of x, it's going to look something like this. And this point will become -1 and 3. Must I go there again? Do you guys have that? Kyk, kom ons kry gou die vergelyking van g van x. So stem julle saam, f van x is y is gelyk aan 3 tot die mag x. Né? And when we reflect something in the y-axis, what happens to the x value? X value becomes negative. Okay? Kan ek weer inzoom? Julle alles opgeskryf daar. Okay, but we prefer not to write it like that. We prefer to write it as a third to the power of x. Né? Want dan kan jy duidelik sien hierdie is 'n eksponensiële grafiek met 'n dalende vorm. Right? Because that value is between 0 and 1. So then it must be an exponential graph descending. Good. Okay. Die volgende een wat hulle vir ons vra om te teken is h van x en hy is 'n refleksie van f van x in die x-as. Okay. Let's quickly jump this side again. xi word x minus a. So the x value remains the same, but the y value changes sign. Okay, and ons kyk na die pink grafiek because they're saying the reflection of f of x. So you're not reflecting the green one, we're reflecting the pink one. And it looks something like this. So this becomes -1. En hierdie punt daar word 1 en minus 3. Because the y values become negative, not the x values. Okay. That's the original equation, eh? Daar is die vergelijking van f van x. So wat doen ons as ons hom reflecteer in die x-as is ons maak net die y-waarde negatief. But we never want something with the y on the left-hand side. So I'm going to multiply by -1 all the way through. And then I'm left with h of x is equal to -3x. En kyk gou vir my net na die blou grafiek. sien julle dis 'n eksponensiële grafiek, maar hy het 'n negatiewe a-waarde, which means it's below the asymptote. Do you guys see? That's still just a normal exponential graph. Okay, now all three of those functions on the board are exponential graphs. So all three of those functions, if you get their inverse function, it will be a log function. Okay, so ons gaan dit nie met al drie doen nie, maar ons gaan dit doen met f van x en g van x. Okay, so do that quickly. Get the inverse function and draw it of f of x. So I'm looking for this. And I'm looking for this.